Okay, so next let's make this stuff a little more visible. Right now these default colors are not working with the blue gradient. So we're going to go over here, and the first thing I'm going to do actually is move this inward. I don't like that they're so far on the edge. So when you leave it at container fluid, it's going to stay on the edge. If you remove the fluid part and go to the other type of container that Bootstrap supports, which is just plain old container, right there under our nav, this is inside of index.php. If I save that and then I go over here and refresh, if you look closely now, they've moved inward a little bit. Okay, so that's good. Now everything's kind of lined up across the left and right. Okay, so next what we're going to do is get those colors right. So we can do that if we go to the style sheet and we can just target these particular elements. And the easiest way is really use the inspector tool. If you right click and say inspect right on top of it, it'll automatically pick out what you need to kind of target. In this case, it's that anchor tag that's sitting inside of our kind of main custom nav. So we can target that by saying something like this. We'll just target all anchor tags and make them all white. So we'll say main custom nav. Make sure you have the dot in front of it. Then curly braces, and we'll say we want to target all the anchor tags inside of it. So when you just put a space in between the next element you want to target, it's going to target any of the A tags that are nested inside of the division with this class name. So in that case, you've got this main custom nav division right here, or in this case nav element. So any anchor tags inside, anything with an A, should get the rules we're about to set. In this case, we're going to say color white. Save your file and then refresh. There we go. All of our anchor tags, these happen to be anchor tags as well, all now changed to white by default. Now last thing, let's fix these background colors here. Let's kind of get rid of that. So we can do that by typing something like this. So just kind of follow along. We'll say main custom nav, then we'll do .navbar -nav, because that's nested in there. Then we're going to use this arrow operator, and then we're going to say li, because those are list items, and then a, and then colon hover. So what we're doing is we're targeting all the anchor tags, but we want to target just these links in particular. And if you right click on them and hit inspect, you'll see they're kind of hanging out, nested pretty deep in there. They're nested under an unordered list called navbar-nav. It's got a few names. Nav, navbar-nav. So this is getting pretty crazy, but if you practice your CSS, you'll be able to pick this stuff up pretty easily over time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just saying main custom nav. That's the main nav that's got this entire thing encased inside of it from left to right. And then we're going in deeper one level, and then we're specifically targeting the children list items and then those particular anchor tags. And we're saying during their hover state, when you add that colon, then we want to apply a certain rule. And we're just going to say background color and set it to transparent. And we'll also go ahead and just change their color slightly when we do hover over them, so something a little more like grayish. And you can do that with F3. You got to repeat it a few times. So if I save that now and go over here and refresh, now when I hover, we don't see anything happening. And we're also seeing, if you look really closely, the color changes just ever so slightly. And you can kind of change that and tweak that to make it a little bit more noticeable. I'm also going to make sure that when you click on it, it doesn't gray up like it's doing right now. So we can take care of that by just kind of copying this structure here and then adding a comma after it and saying, you know what, we're going to apply this same set of rules to another state. And so not the hover state, but the focus state. So save that and then go over here and refresh. And there, now when we click on it, nothing happens and we don't get that background color. And if you're curious about those different states, you can go over here in the inspector and kind of see the 4 main types of states that can be applied. So there we go. Now we've got our colors looking a little bit better for our navigation menu.